Australia is notable for being the habitat of a huge variety of deadly marine and terrestrial animals. Of all the various deadly species that inhabit the oceans and lands of this continental country, two stand out due to their size, weight, and the brutality of their bite when they attack prey. If you are familiar with the territory, then you must already know that it is impossible not to include the great white shark or the saltwater crocodile in the list. One would pray to never encounter any of these marine monsters at close range. Both are notable for their teeth, with the saltwater croc being all the more popular for its bite force. Another thing they have in common is that both the saltwater croc and the great white shark are portrayed as being notorious man-eaters. While the great white holds the title of largest predatory fish currently alive, the saltwater croc holds the title of largest living reptile. If they were to face each other in a fight, which would win? To determine this, we would have to compare certain relevant characteristics of both beasts. For ease of reference, we will be referring to saltwater crocodile as salty, which is what Australians fondly call it. And we will be referring to the great white shark as great white. Before we even get to pitch the great white against salty, where do both creatures live? Does their path ever cross? Great whites are predominantly found in Australia, South Africa, United States, and New Zealand. A few of them are also found in certain coastal areas of countries like Chile, Japan, Sri Lanka, Madagascar, and the Philippines. Saltwater crocs can be found in water bodies of Southeast Asia, Eastern India, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Australia, where they are the most plentiful. There is a possibility for great whites and salty to cross paths in the open sea of these various countries. On several occasions, saltwater crocs have often fought with sharks, and in most of these cases, the shark either runs or gets eaten. But those were not great whites, hence, we can never tell what the outcome will be until we've examined the statistics. So let's proceed. In terms of size, great white is enormous. It is no wonder, therefore, that despite the fact that there are over 400 shark species on the planet, great white is the largest predatory fish. Females are often larger than males. A fully grown great white may grow to lengths measuring 23 feet or 7 meters, such as the popular great white named deep blue, although average size is often 15 feet or 4.5 meters. In this regard, salty is pretty much equal to the great white, since a saltwater crocodile could also grow to 23 feet or 7 meters. Unlike great whites, male salties are larger than females. In terms of weight, great whites often measure between 1,150 to 1,700 pounds, or 520 to 770 kilograms. The largest great white ever photographed, deep blue, weighed a whopping 2.5 tons. In fact, some researchers believe that some great white specimens weigh much more. On the other hand, an average-sized salty would often weigh around 1,000 pounds or 450 kilograms. Although there are larger specimens weighing as much as 2,200 pounds, 1 ton. In terms of weight, great whites take the crown. This is understandable since it is more robust and has a wider girth. Although the salty may be equal in length with the great white, it, however, usually weighs less than a great white. Another useful tool by which we can guesstimate which of these behemoths would win is by considering what they eat and how they hunt. Both animals are top of the food chain carnivores. Great whites hunt and eat a huge variety of fishes and sea mammals, including fishes, turtles, crustaceans, other sharks, helonians, mollusks, seabirds, etc. Adult great whites would also hunt sea lions, dolphins, small whales, otters, porpoises, carrion, and seals. Saltwater crocs, on the other hand, would hunt and eat frogs, fishes, crabs, bugs, and whatever other small animal they can swallow, as they are not picky. Adult salties would often hunt sea turtles, stingrays, and also seabirds. It is not uncommon for large salties to hunt juvenile great white sharks, or any other shark it comes across. Inasmuch as they can clamp their jaw down on it, they will certainly take a nasty bite out of it. It is clear that great whites do not have any notably deadly prey to contend with, other than maybe other sharks and whales. Salties, on the other hand, hunt stingrays and even juvenile great whites. In order to decide who would win, let's consider what each possesses in its arsenal. In terms of speed, the great white is faster and has more maneuverability than a salty. A great white can accelerate to speeds reaching 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, about 30 to 35 miles per hour, while a salty will clock only 25 to 30 kilometers per hour, about 15 to 20 miles per hour, in short bursts which cannot be sustained for long. While a salty packs the most powerful animal bite force, a great white is not far behind. Of all sharks, the great white is the most intimidating. Of all crocs, salty is the most dreadful. While a great white's 300 serrated teeth wouldn't do serious damage with a single bite, unless bitten in the belly, due to the armor-like toughness of a salty's hide, a salty, on the other hand, can inflict fatal injury on the great white with just a single bite. But then, the great white may be too large for it to bite through into half. While a great white loves ramming into prey and flipping them out of the water in order to cause disorientation, it would be nearly impossible to do that to a salty. So also, while a salty loves snapping shut its powerful jaw on prey and then engaging in a death roll in order to tear off chunks from larger prey, it would be difficult to do that to a great white, since it has a girth that is practically too large for it to bite into. The only part small enough might be the fins, and these are not enough to flip and roll the great white. This puts them at deadlock. The salty's belly is its weakest body part, which the great white can ram into headlong. Also, the shark's fins are its weakest body part, and a salty can easily chop it off. Considering all the above, therefore, both animals are pretty much at par, though the great white's teeth may not be capable of doing much damage in a single bite through the armor. Repeated bites, however, would cause fatal injuries on the salty. Repeated bites are possible since the great white has greater maneuverability and speed than the salty. A salty only need to chomp off the fins of the great white in a single bite and the shark would be incapacitated. As a result, it is difficult to conclude with certainty which would win. However, there is a possible way in which the great white could win, since a salty has to intermittently surface above the ocean in order to breathe. A great white needs only to bite the tail of the salty and keep the salty submerged underwater for as long as necessary in order to drown it. Other than this, there is no guarantee which of these fierce marine carnivores would win. Both could injure each other fatally. A salty's hide is too thick for a single bite to be fatal, and a great white is too robust for a salty to clasp and bite through. However, if we had to choose, we think the great white would win about 60 to 70% of the fights. But what do you think? Who would win the fight between these two animals on average? Share your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and ring the bell notification icon.